Knife in the back, I'ma swing home run with a baseball bat. Gonna see you out and hate on that. I'll play both sides with me, no cap. I'ma ride or die, my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real hungry. See some ass so up, yeah, no, I'm the one. Mess with me, cause now we're done. It's not so done, you ain't no fun. And now you're gonna face on the rail with a gun. Like a full clip with your name on it. But all this time you ain't with it. Don't stay strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming. Don't stay strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming. Shit on my shoulders, they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I was swinging down till it hits them in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna let that soft back. Give me one shot and I'll never get the drum back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'm a go constant thing, can't stop it. Someone steal everybody's name, cut a shot. I'm sick of hearing everyone complain when they got this. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes people change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's the same, we all live for fame. One outside, it's like one of them. One you die, baby I'm bad. I just can't get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Okay, only God wants to let it go. Cash me back, baby I'm bad. Baby I'm bad, baby I'm bad. chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back, I'm swinging on till I hit some in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me, ain't nobody right there. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact, give me one shot and I'll never get it thrown back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cross anything, can't stop us. I'ma steal everybody's name, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Face the pain, it's like candy canes, it makes me go change it to a better frame, into a better name. Society's the same, we all live for pain. Baby, I'm not one room side, just like falling without wanting to die. Baby, I'm not, I just wanna get caught up, it's like I'm crazy, I'm not. Oh God, only God wants you, let it go. I'm crashing the die, baby, I'm not, baby, I'm not, baby, I'm not. Swing home run with a baseball bat, gonna see you out and hate on that. I'll play both sides with me, no cap. I'm a ride or die, my dreams on tap. I'm a fly real hungry. Takes my ass so up, yeah, no, I'm not the one. Mess with me, no, now we're done. It's not so done, you ain't no fun. And now you're gonna face on the barrel of a gun. Strike up, full clip, put your name on it. But all the strikes you ain't with it. Time stays strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Time stays strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming. froze. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever got betrayed? Just how you see things, realize something needs change. 'Cause I know you got me fucked up. Let me show you what's up. 'Cause enough is enough. I'll take a big move, baby, to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. All kind of adrenaline wasted, so glad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes to make a mistake like that. I'll play in your face to make you go take it back. I'll move my shit and I'm crazy when I'm mad. And ain't no way to shut the fuck up too bad. And now that I'm gone, I know there's no turning back. Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. Just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be something to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be. Yeah, I just wanna be. This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's yours for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never too late. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be. Yeah, I just wanna be. Something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want. I'm inspired by thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I'm tired, you're first. I'll write a second, third verse. Without the lies you go disperse. You never do shit, I know it hurts. Something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want. feel lost, just believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to be me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take it to your hands, a plan your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to. But in the fucking hours it takes to get some power. Fucking sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And fuck all the doubters, they're just fucking downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always want just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. But it's not what it seems, and it's hard to be seen. When everybody wants to be king, yeah, they all wanna win, yeah, we all wanna be free. So show me what you got, what you bring, how you fight in the ring, how you take a fucking swing. Do you got heart, are you mean, got some stars, got some needs, are you willing to go bleed? I swear to God they all let me down. I always want just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns. We're all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Try to play it, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, wanna do remain easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Bloody hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mind, pushing a train. I'm gonna stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test. Expect nothing less, your check is on chest, I'm tapping in next. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming this second. This life is a lesson, he got a new inch for real, it's a blessing. New focus, no racing, just all an obsession. I'm in this possession, you got your attention. I'm leaving impression and take your redemption. Just feel no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11 is time for progression. Could try to play it, but you're never gonna beat me. The other way, wanna do remain easy. Bloody hands stand from the people who deceive me. Bloody hands break through the chains, go free. People let shame go free. Never stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When you drag the chains, you can say no free. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Speaking on pace, running the race, life is a case. I don't wanna place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated first till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions in the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak mind. Take a space off to the change life, to create thoughts. Never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no main boss. Just my life and free thoughts. They try to play that you're never gonna beat me. The other way, wanna do it ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. swear I won't forget this. Why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up, I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed. I hate being open, I hate being broken. I feel like an ocean, filled up with emotion. Anger in a potion, rub it on like lotion. I can feel it soaking, the yoke and the scars have awoken. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. 'Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. 'Cause I can't move on till I let go. Missing a piece that could be the whole part of me and open wound starts. Everybody come here, gather round. Welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly. Thoughts jumble around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them when I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I gotta taste the neck. I'll be obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. Friends, but my downfall is toxic. Day one, turning to outlaws for profit. All I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. created a legacy up for me, just being honest. Just a fake voice, hey, but it's something to avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail. just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Just how you see things, realize something needs change. 'Cause I know you got me fucked up. Let me show me what's up. 'Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pain just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. Who would it take to make a mistake like that? I'll put it on your face to make you don't take it back. I'll lose my shit, I'm crazy when I'm mad. And I ain't no way to shut the fuck up to bed. And now that I'm gone, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, I know there's no turning back. I'll fucking take smoke and my coke, go home with you, choke, it's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any other do. Crack your hole to do. Eat it up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.
Just cocaine, that's so insane. Just everybody that she was a
take it, put your name on it. But out of sight, you ain't with it. Time stays strong, need to move on to be. I keep dreaming. Time stays strong, need to move on to be. I keep dreaming. I've been driving this train, years in this game, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, take a step. I'll never cap his face. I won't stop till I hear him say. Slow down, I'm gonna see. shots, swing rocks, and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things impatient. Who's at the top, they need replacement. Who's at the top, they better all race it, face it. I don't give up, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise. I've had a taste of evil and tried to kill the sickness, but I'll just keep my head down and focus on the facts. I'm setting down gravel while you just follow the path. I'll lead them in the battle while you're just too scared to act.